On things today. This is one of the easier days of the week. I know yesterday we went a little bit hard and went deep on some of this stuff. So this is a little bit lighter of a day. Just kind of whatever questions that you have, whatever you're dealing with in life, anything that you got going on, by all means, let's toss it up and let's go ahead and work through it. See if we can't get you to the next place to figure out what it is you're dealing with on your own. What you got today, Moody?
Well, as I've been going through the unit stuff, I'm I don't know I don't know if it's overwhelming or what it is, but I'm struggling not to fall into apathy. And so pretty recently I walked out of my job. They were jerking me around too much and I wasn't having it, so I left. Now, I've put a few feelers out there, looking for other work and getting a couple of leads here and there. But I know that I can be a lot more proactive in this, and I know how to do it. One thing is I'm considering starting my own business again, and I'm just not I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything, and I'm just kind of stuck.
What are you trying to defend from? I guess let's start with this before we dig into that. What do you consider apathy? Like how would you describe apathy for yourself?
Just why the fuck does it matter
Mm-hmm.
whether or not I, you know, sit here on unenjoyment for the next couple of weeks or,
Yeah.
what are
So
the chances of a successful business over here where I have zero contacts, like you start from scratch essentially, Like
yeah.
it's just a bunch of lies that I keep falling into and then just kind of I don't know, just kind of get bogged down a little bit, I guess.
Well, you're already catching the big portion of this. You're already recognizing them as lies to begin with.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Yeah.
what it
So
is me lying to myself.
so we're playing around with distraction. We're playing around with denial, different things like that.
Oh yeah, all of it.
So
Yeah.
what is it we're getting defensive about? Like why are we popping up that armor? Why are we popping up that defense on moving forward with it?
That's where I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure that out. Like I know the way, like why not just go do it?
That is a good question. Why do it in the first place? What is it about starting your own business that you like? Why is it you want to do that to begin with?
Well, I know the benefits of it financially, you know.
Yeah.
Like I did that before and it worked out great. I had more time with my kids. I had more money to spend on family stuff and doing fun things with them. And, you know, so I know the benefits of it.
Yeah. But you also know how much work it's going to take to get there, I assume.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I'm stuck. It's just like fucking being lazy.
Very possibly. How much, what are you focusing on more? Are you focusing on all of the work that's associated with what you're getting ready to do? Or are you focusing more on what you're going to get once you get it there?
The work.
So you're seeing all the negatives, but not any of the positives.
Yep.
Well, that makes sense why you're falling into apathy because you're constantly looking at the negative for it. You're giving yourself reasons not to do it.
Yeah.
None of us in here can tell you why to do something or why not to do something. In all honesty, man, it's all got to come from you. It's not going to mean as much if I tell you all the good things about it or anything like that. It's only going to be that impactful if they come from you. Only you truly know what you're going to gain from it.
How do you snap yourself out of that apathy? How do you snap yourself out of that inaction mode into actual get out and get it done?
I think you've already done the biggest chunk of it. You've already recognized that you're just lying to yourself, that you're just creating excuses, you're just distracting yourself. Like you already know what the cause of it is. Now you just have to go through and see it for what it is. This is just me distracting myself. This is me lying to myself. What do I gain from doing this? Not what do I gain from starting the business, but what do I gain from lying to myself about it?
Right.
Basically, you just got to take the blinders off, man, and see the world for what it is around you. Use the awareness that you have.
Mm.
You're actually in a really good place to be asking these questions because within the next 2 weeks, we're going to be going through inventory as well.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't remind me. I know.
Oh, yeah. Bring your cup that day, by the way. Now you can't say I
Yeah.
didn't warn you.
You know, I think I think week 3 warned me enough. Because ever since then, it's been dick punch, 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 dick punch.
I
But they've
think
all
you
been really
know,
good and appreciated.
I think you know everything that you need to on this. It's just implementing it, dude. And that's only something that can come from you. So, what ways can you think of that you can work against those negative thoughts, the why bother aspect of it? I mean, because to me, it just seems like, well, that's a pretty easy question to ask. Why bother doing this? Well, because I want more time with my kids. I want to be able to provide. I don't want to have a boss over me. I want to be my own boss. Like that seems like a pretty easy question to answer, but we're not answering it right now.
To be honest with you, I need some wins, man.
Or would you even allow yourself to see a win if you got one? Because I bet you right now, I bet you we could all sit here together and we could probably find a bunch of wins for you.
No, I mean, I do have a lot of wins. I do. I need wins in this area. Like it's been a fucking struggle since I closed my business down,
Yeah.
you know? And pop off at the mouth and get terminated and a couple of months later I'm back at the same company, pop off again, get fucking let go again,
Do you
you
see
know?
every one of those times as a negative?
No, not at all.
So you've got wins right there.
Yeah.
I'll give you another win. You're recognizing it for what it is and you're asking for help on how to get there. That's more than most people do to begin with.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Maybe maybe it's not even wins.
No, they're definitely wins if
Well,
you will let
that
them be a win.
for sure, but I guess what I'm saying is maybe it's not even that I need wins. Like,
You thinking more like you just need results, not necessarily a win, but just need to see results from it.
well, that may be.
Mhm.
I think results where I don't have to struggle so hard and push so hard just to fucking make life work, you know?
What is it about the struggle that makes you want to avoid it?
Um, I think essentially in the past the results haven't been worth the struggle.
So we're dictating what the future holds by basing it off of the past.
History is a pretty good predictor of future.
Yeah, but were you the same person 5 years ago that you are today?
No.
Seems kind of silly to say you're going to do the same thing then, doesn't it?
Well, there goes my right testicle.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Just recognize where you currently are, man. You're not the same person that you used to be, which obviously means you're not going to have the same results. Quite honestly, to get the same results that you've had in the past is going to take even more effort because it's going to be more difficult to pull it off the exact same way that you did before, knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
Just take a step back, take a step back, take a couple of breaths, and just recognize what's going on around you. Think of this moment as think of this moment as saving the video game before you go up against the final boss. Like this is your time that you stop and you rest, you save your game, you make sure that you've got everything you need before you open the door to that final boss. This isn't where things stop. This is just where we reassess where we currently are so we can keep moving forward in the right direction.
I don't really do much with video games, but
Okay, well,
I think maybe along those same lines,
every
it
time I
has
tend to
something to
see you,
do
you're
with
sitting
reload
out
when
in
you
front of a
can, not when you
campfire out in
have
the
to.
woods. So we'll put it
This is where I
in those
live.
form. Okay, if you're going out deer hunting, you don't necessarily just pick one place, wait a couple of weeks and go out to that one place, do you? Like there's scouting that's involved. You have to check the weather, check the wind, all of that kind of stuff, see where they're bedding, see where they're not. Like there's a lot of things that go into it, right?
Hmm.
Well, that's why you have multiple places that are set up so you can get the best possible odds for success. Right now, you're sitting out the night before you're going deer hunting. You're looking over all the data that you get, trying to determine which stand you're going to go sit in the next morning for success. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just reassessing where you're currently at so you can make the best choice.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. That does make sense.
Sure.
What I was gonna say is, what I know is with gun work, reload when you can, not when you have to.
Yeah.
And I'm in a position right now where I can reload.
Yeah. Yeah. You may still have 27 rounds in your mag,
Hmm.
but you're like, I might need all 30
I
coming
might
around
need
this
those
corner.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So see, you get it, man. You're in a place where you can reload, you can reassess, and you can move forward. That's all you're doing right now.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate that, Chris.
Of course.
And I also want to give a shout out to Brian over there who just about lost his little cookies. He just died laughing. I don't know why, but I
Well, it's
love it.
Brian. There could be a million reasons.
I know. I know. Love you, buddy.
Jeff, what
All
you
right.
got going on today, dude?
Hey, um, yeah, I've just been, I guess doing a lot of writing on, trying to know myself better, and I guess that I've kind of gotten a little bit uh, of some insight, I guess, into like just uh, being a more emotional person than I have ever really seen myself as, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've always kind of been in my head and been kind of like somebody that always just thought like, oh, I'm a thinker, not a feeler. But like examining uh, my behaviors and my actions, like I find that I actually let my feelings dictate quite a lot of what I do, how I go about my day. Like I've got to get my emotions, in the right spot to like move forward in my day. And I don't know, like just looking more closely at the Enneagram stuff, and it's like I'm kind of like all over the place in that right now too, which is kind of, I don't know, messing with my head a bit about like maybe I've uh, misread myself, you know, for a long time as far as like who I am and you know uh, maybe that intellectual stuff was mostly just about, the fact that I was unskilled at handling my emotions,
Maybe,
and still am. So would just kind of
maybe.
stick to that because it felt safe.
Question for you. Did you take
Yeah.
the Enneagram test or did you just review the Enneagram?
I've taken the test. Um, when I just have taken the test and just answered the questions quickly, like I got like a type 5, but then I read the type 5 and it's like that doesn't really resonate well. So I went back and like read the questions more carefully and closely as I was going through it. And then, my highest type was like a type 6, but then it had some sort of tiebreaker thing in there where it told me I'm a type 4. And now I'm
Mhm.
just like, what the?
Yeah. Um, Phil, do you want to jump in on that real quick? Because quite honestly, Jeff, I think you're a type 5 that overthought it, and now you're getting different types because you overthought it to begin with. But Phil is like Enneagram master.
I
Yeah.
concur with Miller because you're probably a type 5. And both your wings are popping out in extremes because of the waves. You got to get used to them, figure out your general health level at 5, and we can work from there. But Miller's your guy. He's a 5. He's been through all the stuff. He's helped me when I've had 5 wing 6s and 5 wing 4s. I'm like, I need help out of this lottery trap. He's a guy. So, by all means.
You want in the DM of the health levels, Jeff? I could DM you those.
Okay. Yeah. Check that out.
One place I always recommend with Enneagram types to help us understand them fairly well is the Enneagram Institute. You can go on
Mhm.
there and select your type. It'll give you a really good description of it. It'll tell you where you excel. It'll tell you, where your triggers are. It'll tell you generally how you tend to see things, but it'll also tell you how you act in certain relationships with other types. So if you know that your wife is I don't know, we'll say like a type 7 and you're a type 5, you can pick that and it'll say, this is what that dynamic looks like in that relationship. So that can even be fairly helpful as well. From what I'm seeing, though, you definitely seem like a type 5 to me. Now, the cool thing with being a type 5 is, yes, right out of the gate, emotions, nope, they're not in the picture because they don't make sense. We deal really heavily in logic and critical thinking and analysis. Like if the numbers don't match up, then it doesn't make sense type of stuff. So when we start trying to throw feelings into mix, it's like, oh yeah, this feels really weird. Let's just put it in this box over here. I don't want to deal with that right now. I can't figure it out. Especially because when we get to that point, we start becoming reclusive. We'll go hide in our own little safe space. Nobody will bother us or whatever else. Like that's where we do our thinking. That's where we do all of our work. Is simply just me, myself, and I. Nobody else around.
Mhm.
But we still have feelings. Only thing is, we just don't know what they are.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's kind of, I don't know. I guess just kind of like where I'm at with that is that I've just never really spent a lot of time, uh, I guess, processing emotions
Mhm.
and feeling emotions and understanding it, and especially like working through a lot of shame and just trying to overcome depression in general. Um, that it just is like what I don't know, pay more attention to kind of like body sensations of like, kind of like trapped energy in my body and like, where's that coming from? What emotions is it tied to? And
Mhm.
so it's definitely got me, you know, I guess kind of messed up just because it's like the first time in my life I've ever done anything like that. So
Let me ask you something and see how close I am. Just kind of out of curiosity. Are your parents still together, or did they get divorced?
they get divorced when I was 6.
Okay. Were you praised for when you got good grades in school?
Not really.
Okay. When you didn't get good grades in school, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, like that was a problem.
What phrase pops out in your head when you think, oh crap, I got a D on this test and I'm scared to take it home because I know what dad's going to say. What did dad say?
Um, well, it was mom that paid attention, and like the only thing that got attention, I guess, was the negatives. So that
Mhm.
was kind of how that worked.
Yeah.
Like the good grades were just kind of expected. The negatives were the ones that were pointed out.
then that makes exact sense why you're a 5. That makes everything perfectly clear, because you don't see putting effort into anything as actually giving you a result. I only get noticed when things don't go the way people expect them to. So I'm not going to put in the effort, because when I do, it doesn't get recognized, which also means that you're going to shame yourself by telling yourself that you're not doing it enough, that you're not doing everything that you could. And you know it because that's what you were taught. So even when you do finish a project, you're like, yeah, it could have been better. I only did like 50% of it. So it makes perfect sense why you don't do anything with feelings, because you've been taught that feelings don't make sense. Feelings don't matter. And when they do matter, they're negative emotions that I have to deal with, that everybody else is telling me to deal with. I don't have any idea what positive emotions even look like, because everything in my life has been negative. So it makes perfect sense, dude.
Mhm.
The only thing is all that is stuff somebody put into your head.
Yeah.
Somebody else told you that was a negative reaction. That was supposed to be shame. That's something you're not supposed to feel. Like for me, the big thing that I always remember healing is, well, you shouldn't fear that. You shouldn't feel that way. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, great. Thanks for telling me how I feel. Glad I figured that out after 35 years. I can actually feel myself without having somebody tell me. Like, that's awesome. Could have told me that sooner.
Mhm.
But it is accurate, dude.
Yeah.
But when nobody's there to tell us what our feelings are, we don't have any idea, which is typically why we start getting really agitated. We start pulling back from people. A lot of times, honestly, we start using anger as a defense mechanism, because if people see us as angry, they're not going to continue to ask us questions about stuff we either don't want to talk about or stuff that we don't want to know. Both of those things have feelings attached to them.
Makes sense. Okay.
But the best
Yeah.
thing I can recommend, if you don't have it already, get the Wheel of Feels app. You can
Wheel
find
of
it on
Feelings.
Google Play Store. You can find it in Apple Store. Hell, you can find it online. Just Google Wheel of Feels. You know what it is it has 3 rings to it. The first one is very small, has like 6 different feelings in there, like happy, sad, angry, whatever, right? Each one of those has like 5 or 6 that expand into the second ring, and then another 5 or 6 for each one of those into the third ring. So by the time you get to the third ring, there's like 60, 70 different feelings and emotions that are attached to it. Now, you being a type 5, what you might have more success with is starting at the outer ring and working your way in, because it's more descriptive. It helps us process what that emotion is, because we can go immediately into that and be like, oh yeah, this is a irritable feeling. I don't know what else it is though. So wait, irritable, that tracks down to, oh, I don't know, it looks like disappointment, and that tracks down into sadness. So wait a second, I'm actually not angry, I'm just fucking sad. Sometimes starting at the very outside and working your way in will help you out better, but try it both ways and see what works. The reason I recommend the app though is because it'll actually recommend you journal about that feeling when you figure out exactly what it is. That way you can kind of see what it is that you're working through, what it is that you have going on.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look for that app. I see it looks like some people are posting some things in the chat. I'll
Yeah.
take a look at that. Cool.
One day at a time, one feeling at a time, dude. Whatever that you do though, don't shame yourself for having that feeling, because every single person in this room has had every single feeling that's on that chart. It's expected. We're all human. If we didn't have emotions, we'd all be robots, which ironically enough, I think a lot of type 5s are robots in a sense, but that's besides the point. No, it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine to have those feelings, regardless of what that feeling is. What's not okay is not understanding that feeling and taking it out on somebody else because we don't understand ourselves.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, that helps out a lot. Thanks.
Sure. Gerald, what you got, man?
Oh, hold on 1 second. I got distracted. So I've been writing on working. So I've been hurting myself on sleep again. But this time is like a different way. It's not because of like sadness or like hard times. It's actually like excitement because I'm moving towards pleasure, not away from pain. So I wrote through like a lot of it last night of like, what does it all come down to? What do I need to do? What do I need to work on? Yeah. Uh, Schedule, tightening my schedule. I'm working on that right now, trying to actually block out intentional hours and time. I realize that trying to do too many good things. Although they're good, I need to focus on one and move to the next. I guess that's really just if you ever really dealt with this, obviously you're moving up to more sides. You're a dad, you're a husband, you understand all those areas. Like what's your best advice on that one?
My best advice, quite honestly, I'll show you if it can even come through. I don't know. We'll see. Where is it here? My best advice. Yeah, that's not going to come through really well. Calendar and schedule, my
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, I've been
Calendar
polishing
and
up my
schedule.
my Google Calendar right now and working on that.
You are a
Uh,
mind side guy. That
mhm.
doesn't mean that you can't use mind side to attack your problems. Sometimes when we figure out what our core type is, we try to avoid that core type because we've lived as it for so long. You know, your mind side is still a strength, even though you're balancing out other sides as well. So you can use that in things like this. You can legitimately schedule time. Like, dude, I've actually got time on here where I have to schedule a reminder to take a lunch break some days because otherwise I'll forget. And next thing you know, it's 2:30, 3 o'clock. And I'm like, well, crap, I can't take lunch now where I won't eat dinner. Like craziest thing
I,
in the world to think about forgetting lunch. But dude, I do it so many days of the week.
I have a lunch alarm, paperwork alarm, pick up the kids alarm. Like if you saw my alarm
Yeah.
list, it's already crazy. So
Yeah.
I it's just unlocking heart and spirit side now, working more on spirit side. Not to get all esoteric, but there's been a lot stronger pull on areas I never really went into before.
Mhm.
So I rely on my mind side heavy, but then I also know it can drain the quickest because it is my strongest.
Mhm.
So trying to level up the other sides without falling apart is where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Schedule time for every side, however you see fit, and make sure when that time comes, you go into it with intention and purpose. We're not looking at it going like, oh, yeah, it's, Saturday at 6 o'clock. I got to go do my spirit side training. It's like, no, actually, okay, cool. I get to dump everything else and I get to just be for a little bit, and you don't have to take the full hour if you don't need it. It's like, I'm just setting this specific amount of time aside so that way I can work on this aspect and keep that balance.
I've definitely learned through all of this that body side is the first one that loses its investment every time.
Yeah.
Body side.
You'll even find that as you try to balance all four sides the best way possible, because dude, I already know how you are and you're going to find the most efficient possible way to do this. Absolutely, like no questions asked, right? You'll find how it's most efficient for you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be the same as everybody else. For me, body side is very first thing in the morning because that helps mind side, heart side, and spirit side throughout the rest of the day. Because honestly, if that's the hardest thing I do all day, I knocked it out at the very beginning and everything else the rest of the day, dude, that's all easy compared to what I already put myself through today.
The hardest thing that I'm running into, and me and Phil talked pretty heavy on it last night, is I feel a calling and I'm so motivated and excited to do the stuff with the group, the stuff that I'm working on and growing on. But going to work, I fucking hate it. My
Mhm.
job, I absolutely I tried so many ways to spin it. Like, yeah, I get a chance to mentor people, teach people. Okay, all the good, hard side guys that I used to joke and laugh with and shoot the shit, they all quit. So it's like just drains me every day I walk to that gate.
Dude, I feel like right now it's a moment in Step Brothers because I'm sitting here like, did we just become best friends? Like I know that feeling. I got that same feeling. You know, Sometimes we have to deal with necessary evils. Okay. Right now, it's the same for me as it is for you. I do not want to go to work every day. I get way more fulfillment. My purpose is not in my day job, but it is a necessary evil for the time being to keep myself from backtracking on all other sides. So whether I like it or whether I don't, I still have to go in and do it. And quite honestly, dude, I've actually found that it's more beneficial for that. We can't always have everything just good exactly the way that we want it to go. Sometimes having those necessary evils, keyword they're being necessary, is what makes everything else so rewarding. So at some point, you'll look back at this time and be like, yeah, I remember when I still had to work my day job. I'd come home and I'd stress about it at night and try to pump all of this time and energy into what it is I really felt my purpose was. But that just makes it so much better when you finally get there. Right now you're putting in the effort so you can get to where you want to be. Make sure you praise yourself for the effort that you're putting in. And just like we were talking with Moody earlier, see the positive aspects of what it is you're doing, where it is that it's leading you to, what's going to come from getting to that point.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave has a hand up.
D-Day.
So just to speak on what you're talking about too, something that I've found that helps me in my daily job, because Chris knows this better than anybody else. The work that we do, like everything's a negative, right? Like there is nobody that I'm meeting that's in a positive scenario, right? They're hurt, their life's turned upside down, all these things are going on, right? So, if you can find purpose in what you're doing and take your eyes just off of the job I have to do, like we know we got to go to work and we got to make money, right? And I have to do X job, but can I find purpose in my employment outside of what I just do? And again, Chris and I have a really easy opportunity to do this, right? We're meeting people that are in desperate, fearful, scary situations, and we're fortunate to be in a group where we train these things. We talk about it ad nauseum. So when we approach these people, right, we're able to look outside of the work box and find purpose in the interactions that I have with these people in terms of how they're handling things. What can I talk to them about? How can I set their mind at ease? Is there something that I can do for these people that I'm interacting with right now? I'm not saying that whatever job that you're working in has to be some type of personal interaction in terms of finding that purpose in the employment, but look for the thing outside of what you just do and see if there's purpose there that you can apply that comes from something better.
I get my most enjoyment from teaching new guys. Like I'm the guy that trains everybody. They always send them to me, and I really get a lot of enjoyment out of that. The hardest part is when they get sent away afterwards, because then it's like you build that connection, you build that a kind of camaraderie. You get to see them grow, and then it's just like either they quit or they go somewhere else, and you're like to another station.
Mm-hmm.
So that part I'm getting used to, but it does suck because I had the senior guys that I would shoot, the shit with, and there was kind of that release of like, yeah, everything's chaotic here, but it's hilarious. And now it's like, dang it.
So the personal loss there, that does stink, right? Okay, yes, I had this relationship that I was building. I got close to these people and doing that, right? Flip to the other side of that. I was instrumental in their career development and their character development, that they're able to move on and pursue other things because I got to be part of that interaction, right? That you're when we're at work, guys, how often is it that you leave a job and you stay in with like all the people that you were working with at that job, you stay in close connection with, and you have a relationship for the rest of your life? It doesn't happen, right? You find relationships in the things that are constant and immediate, right? So knowing, right, being pre-prepared that these relationships always aren't going to be, right? They have their time. Like Rick and I were talking about it one time. You're either a leaf, a branch, or a root. Okay, the leaf is just for a short time, a branch is for a season, right? Or roots are there forever. Most people fluctuate between leaves and branches, right? We're not going to carry those relationships forever, right? Typically, those relationships are close friends or immediate family, right? Or some type of connection to that, or maybe like within your congregation, right? Outside of that, people are going to move on, and we should be happy for them that they're moving on. And I got to be a part of them, growing in life and getting to move to the next step in their life. Like they'll always remember that. You guys may not be close and sharing beers and talking and laughing all the time, but they're always going to have that part of you with them that carried them to that point, and they continue to improve upon that, right?
The solid ass point that D-Day just dropped on you guys, for damn sure. What perspective am I even looking at this through? Am I looking at this as, yep, there's another relationship that bit the dust? Or am I sitting here going, that's pretty cool. Like that guy's going to go and do something awesome, and I got to be a part of it. I got to help get him there somehow, some way, some shape, some form. We have guys that come in here and do the same thing, quite honestly. They'll come in here for a couple of weeks, couple of months, they'll get what they need, and then they'll go off on their own way. And it's like, yeah, it sucks to see him go, sucks to see him leave. But at the same time, it's like, you know what? This is what that person needs at that point in time. And I'm glad I got to be a part of it for the time that I was meant to be a part of it.
I can definitely see that. And I've had a couple guys reach back out to me later on and they're like, I appreciate you, teaching me, training me, or they'll even reach back out and ask a question. And then I love it because I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll help you out. Like, they're like, yeah, because I knew you're the guy to call. So there is that aspect of it because I've built a pretty big network that way. So that is a good change of staying in that mindset, DJ. I appreciate that.
Can we also not forget, Gerald, that every time you touch an airplane, you touch several hundred lives that don't go down in the next crash.
I feel safe flying. Didn't know that Gerald worked on the airplane.
Like, shit, Gerald worked on this plane. I'm going to get there twice as
100%.
fast.
100%.
This thing's got Phoenix power in it. Yeah. That's one of the toughest things I think that we have to deal with, quite honestly, guys, is just remembering, like, what perspective do we view life at? It'll work for a while. We'll look at everything in a positive light, like, oh, yeah, this is really cool. Like even some of the stupidest, simplest stuff you would think of, like, yeah, I get to actually get up and walk today, or like, I got a roof over my head. It stormed last night and I didn't get wet. That's pretty awesome. Or like, man, even better, I got a coffee pot that starts the coffee automatically for me in the morning. I don't even have to press a button. Like, that's all pretty dope shit. We just do it every single day to a point where we often forget that not everybody has this stuff. Not, some people wish for the stuff that we have. That's where we got to be humble and be grateful for what it is that we have and recognize everything, all the positives that we actually get to experience in life. Give the weight to Dr. Phil. Oh, that's good. Hey, Brian, how are you doing today, dude? It looks like you got something that's kind of running through your mind a little bit today.
I'm just just been talking to this girl for the past 2 months, and Sunday Sunday I'm gonna be going on a date with her. So yeah. Um, and as far as yesterday goes, I did write out the just basically vented out everything on paper with the realtor and all that stuff. And I'm still looking at places, but the the only thing right now is just, I just need to continue doing what I'm doing first before eventually getting a place of my own. So that's what I need to do. Need to focus on myself first, then get myself a place. So
Can you do one without doing the other?
that was another thing that I did, because it's funny thing is that I was writing out the other day of what happens when I'm in like my anxiety phase, is that I start getting overwhelmed by everything. Because if I have more than 6 things on my plate, or if I have more than X number on my plate, I have to do everything in order before going, like, being okay. So if, like, let's say if I'm doing a project at home, I need to work on that project, and then cool. But if you give me one thing to do and then tell me, "Oh, I need you to do 5 other things." Well, which one's the easier thing for me to do, to work on?
Stop. Wrong question. Why do you need to do something for somebody else? You just said you already got a bunch of shit on your plate. Now you're adding other people's stuff to your plate. That's what I mean by, can you actually do one without the other? Can you be in enough peace and enough tranquility to work on yourself where you currently are at? Because quite honestly, dude, you've been here for a while, and that's really held you back. Just to throw it out there to you, dude. And that's not necessarily my words; those are your words.
Yeah.
Focus on what's on your plate before you start worrying about what's on other people's plate and start adding it to your own. That's what it really means to work on yourself. Now, maybe that includes getting your own place, maybe it doesn't. But considering the conversation we were having a week ago, from what it sounds like you're trying to distract yourself from improvement. Now, I may be off on that, but that's what it sounds like to me. It's like, oh, wait, now that I've got this grand idea, I've already talked to a realtor, and oh, wait, my credit score is crap. Now, what other reasons can I find to where I can't get into my own place? Well, I got to do this for somebody else. I got to do this for somebody else. Maybe I should just really work on me first. Like, it just seems like now that you got that news that your credit score was involved in trying to get a place, now there's like 6 different reasons why you can't get a place, and those all happened in the last 24 hours. It doesn't naturally occur in that manner.
Yeah. Well, shit, that was a dick punch right there. Multiple dick punches. Thank you very much.
You're
Needed that.
welcome. You're welcome.
Needed that.
It really just comes down to this, dude. There's 20 people that are in this call. 19 of them believe in you. Guess which one doesn't really believe in you right now? Yeah, come join our party, dude. We're having a damn good time over here. Especially with Kieran's shirt. Like, he's got the Stag Wars shirt on. That's just freaking epic. I love that shirt. I'm going to have to buy me one now. Stag Wars is cool. I think you know what you need to do so you can get better yourself. But I also think that you're really prone to throwing excuses out as to why it's never going to happen in the first place. Believe in yourself and what it is that you're capable of, man. Because everybody else here does. That's why we hit you with this stuff all the time. It's because we can see what you're capable of. We're just trying to get you to see it too.
Yeah, I think that's something that I need to work on, is like stop making excuses for things.
Do your writing each morning. That's what I really like to encourage everybody to do. Like I was saying earlier, my big thing is I like to go to the gym first thing in the morning because it's the hardest thing that I have to deal with. You know, for other guys, the hardest thing they have to do is actually journal and write their shit out. Okay, well, if that's the hardest thing, do it first thing in the morning. Make the hardest thing you're going to accomplish the very first thing you do. Because the cool thing is, if you do your journaling first thing in the morning, even if it's only for 10 minutes, you can come back at the end of the day and look at what you wrote down. And I guarantee you, if you do that, take some time in between, you'll come back and see what you wrote down, and you could highlight the excuses that you put into it in the morning. That way you recognize what it is that you typically do, what your default program is. Awareness is always the first step, because if we don't know that there's even a question, we're definitely not going to find a solution. Simple, right? What would it take for you to bet on yourself, even if it means risking comfort for conviction? Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, Gerald dropping bombs even.
I didn't like that question.
I might have to write that question. I might have to write that one down and think about that one. Damn. Fucking hey, Gerald. Now you're giving me a dick punch there.
Mm-hmm.
I was a self-inflicted punch last night, so good luck.
Hey, I mean, in all fairness, on some of these guys, you are kind of standing there with your legs wide open. I mean, just saying. I think this has been a good day, guys. I think there's been a lot of stuff that we've been able to tackle just by asking the random questions throughout the day. At some point, I think it's going to be kind of neat because at some point, these questions that you guys ask, you'll be able to answer them for yourself too. That's where things get really cool because then you start asking yourself more questions, you start finding more answers, and then you're like, holy shit, I didn't even know this was a question I would ask myself. You know, like 6 months ago, if I had said this question, I'd have thought I was crazy. A little bit of discomfort isn't bad. A little bit of discomfort is where you start to grow. We just avoid it because we like comfort. We like to deceive ourselves into thinking that everything's perfect the way it is. But deep down, we all know that it's really not. That's why we're here in the first place. You all chose to come here for one reason or another. Might as well keep on going. No reason to stop halfway. Think about that for a while, Brian. That'd be a good one for you to write on, really. What was it that made you join this community to begin with? And are you living up to the expectations you had when you made that call? Other than that, guys, I don't have anything else for you today. Any of you guys have anything else you want to toss up before we get out of here? By all means. Dick Punch Thursday. Hey, we could do that.
Oh, man, I am all over that. Dick Punch Thursday it is.
I need a good one.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Chris.
DP.
The DPT, DP Thursday. Yeah. Actually, we better not stay away from DP because that might actually make some guys a little too excited.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah. Don't forget tonight, guys. David Day, he's going to do our phalanx from 9:30 p.m. Is that Central or Eastern? D-Day, I can't remember.
That's Eastern.
Yeah, it's Eastern. It should be right after Transformers.
Yeah, so 9:30 Eastern. We're going to have our third phalanx for the day as well. So if you guys want to hop into that, definitely do so. The really neat thing with the way that we have these phalanxes structured, if you think about it, I made this joke with Rick the other day about this. The idea of government that we were all taught growing up in school, like with the checks and balances and everything, you know, like the way it's supposed to work, that, well, it doesn't, but you know, the way it's supposed to. It's kind of crazy because with no real intention behind it, that's kind of how we set this whole thing up to begin with anyway. Rick's very heavy on body side. I'm really heavy on mind side. Dave's real heavy on spirit side. Like we all balance each other out very, very, very well. So maybe some of the stuff that I'm bringing up with you guys doesn't really connect as well as it might if Rick says it or if D-Day says it. So make sure you hit up D-Day's phalanx too. See what you can gain from that. Nothing wrong with having more perspectives, especially coming from a different side. Other than that, guys, I say, well, let's hop out of here so we can go ahead and get a little bit of fun in for the day before D-Day's phalanx this afternoon, or evening, I should say. Gerald, do you want to close me out on this one, dude?
I gotcha. Find what you're grateful for. We'd be grateful if you liked and subscribed.
Boom.